A city skyline sits under a blanket of dark storm clouds, then bright blue skies. In a park, a cyclist rides along a waterside path.
Water is a tremendous force, and you can't change the direction of water. Water will find its own path.
B waters her flowers.
Well, it was drizzling when it was light out, but it was dark when it really started to pour.
Sarah.
At that point, I started thinking to myself, it's gonna flood. But I thought it's gonna flood somewhere where it always floods, not at my house. Never did I think my house.
Charles and Paula.
I've been in Houston all my life. That's over 50 years. You've seen water crest about you, but never water come in to the home.
Jordan in his car.
We were getting lots of flash flood alerts on our cell phones.
Lindsay.
I heard water dripping, and we went to put our feet down to find out where the leak was and stepped into ankle-deep water.
Paula.
And then everywhere you looked along the perimeter of the house, it was coming in from the baseboards. It was just coming in from the walls. It was coming in from everywhere.
The water was up on the windows.
B touches the window 17 inches from the ground.
That's when you know you've really got a problem. And we start picking up ottomans and chairs.
We definitely were concerned that we could be electrocuted. The power didn't go out, the water was rising.
It was dark water, so I knew that sewage was coming up. I mean, I'm standing on a step ladder at one point. You know, I don't want to be standing in this stuff.
Charles.
So about 3 o'clock in the morning, the water had risen to about just below the countertops, and it seemed like it had stopped. So we all moved into the kitchen and got on top of the countertops because that was the only dry place in the house.
We didn't go to sleep for probably close to 36 hours.
And at that point, what was wet, and what we could save had been saved. And the only thing that happened that kind of upset us, we had some photographs. And
Sarah frowns.
we only have 1 or 2 photos of my dad. And those photos got wet.
Everything was just devastated.
Paula blinks back tears.
You know, baby books and some of the memories that you put together intentionally. You know, all of that was lost.
Jordan tours his home.
We got 14 inches of water in the house. We lost everything. You have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea where you're going to go. You have no possessions besides the clothes on your back.
I remember the water being to the actual octagon of the stop sign. I mean, it was just a lake.
Paula stands outside.
For the first few days after the flood, I was pretty much here.
Charles's garage.
It's basically transformed into the temporary headquarters. You know, this is my favorite chair, so it was floating too, so I had to let it dry out. You got a personal air condition, TV, you know, it brings new meaning to man cave, so.
Charles sits in his favorite chair inside the garage.
I can't wait to get back home. I want to come home and have coffee on the back patio with my husband.
Paula nods.
It's actually a privilege to be able to share my home with my mom. I put everything I had into getting into this home. I asked my mother to leave her home to come with me. And the idea of having my mother homeless because of a bad decision I made, that's the dilemma that I would have been in if I didn't have flood insurance.
The claim is well over $70,000. It's amazing how it adds up. You know, just replacing everything.
For just the structure itself is over $80,000. When the man said that,
She grabs her mother's shoulder.
I kept going, what? $80,000? I kept shouting, $80,000? He says, yes.
Buying the flood insurance is something we did to take care of our family. We did it for the boys.
And because of insurance, you know, this is an inconvenience rather than devastation.
You have to have insurance to be able to put yourself back on your feet.
B nods.
You're so grateful that you have it because you do have the peace of mind of knowing I get to go back home.
Floods are the #1 natural disaster in the United States. Learn your home's flood risk and protect what matters.